Great question. For us, we have a pretty simple business model, like I said, where our clients pay us monthly, and as long as we do a good job, they'll pay us again next month, and we'll deliver results to them. So on top of that, our main expenses are just our headcount and our salaries to ourselves and our team. And so it's not the most complicated business to understand financially. It's not like we have multinational suppliers and trade agreements and all sorts of things like that, or warehouse space or physical locations. So we do have an accountant and a bookkeeper that we work with that has been helpful for us on the tax side and the bookkeeping side, but a lot of it we probably could do ourselves. That being said, there's a few things we would have missed if we weren't working with a great accountant and bookkeeper that even in a simple business model was still a big blessing to have. And so I think with it being most of our first times going for a big swing like this and not knowing what we don't know, we're definitely grateful that we opted to work with an accountant and a bookkeeper. It's just something that has made us sleep better at night, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in outsource whatever you don't think you can maximize your time in. I had this email problem with Google, and I spent like 3 or 4 hours on it because I was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I can do it. I can just put my head down and figure it out. Like 4 hours later, I just wasted half a day on this, and I hit up my one friend, who's like a computer wizard, and he solved it in 20 or 30 minutes, and I was like, I should have just done that from the beginning. So I definitely think while maybe I could have figured it out after 8 hours, or maybe if you guys could do your books, it's definitely just better and faster and more efficient to give it to someone else who does that every day, and you guys can just focus on growing and growing and growing. So with that, I'm going to go into some rapid fire questions. So my first question is, what country are you most excited to go to?
I've had Spain on my mind for years, so that's where I'm going in 2 weeks. That'll be my first international stint of this leg, so it's got to be Spain for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's one book that has influenced you on your journey so far?
I think the best one for me, I don't read a lot, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I think the best book, though, that I have read is called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
That's such a good book. That's such a good book. What about the podcast? What's one podcast that you can't live without?
My favorite one recently has been a podcast called Acquired, which tells the history of businesses. It's very long. It's more like a book. They do 3, 4, 5, 6 hour episodes, but you learn a lot about the history of amazing companies like Costco, Rolex, Hermes, and it's very fascinating to me.
That's awesome. That actually sounds really interesting. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's, whether they're in corporate and they're trying to break free into entrepreneurship, or where they've kind of stayed in their hometown their whole life and they're scared to travel? What's some advice you would give to that person?
I think the same thing I'm telling myself every day, which is just to minimize regret. If there's things you know you want to do, don't get in your own way. It's not to say you have to travel. Like travel's not going to be the thing for everybody. Some people might be way happier never leaving and just building up their home and or their farm into something that they love. Then you should do that. But whatever you think you may regret not doing, like make sure you do the thing at some point.
That's great advice for anyone who's listening. What is next for Foundation Media, my friend? And where can people reach out to connect with you, whether it's to sign on, or whether they just want to follow along your journey?
Yeah, for Foundation Media, we'll keep growing. We have a free Google Ads course where we give away kind of our industry knowledge, and then we sell the implementation where we can manage accounts for people. So the free course is at school.com/Google Ads if you check that out. And then for me, I think it's just going to be a lot about sharing my journey, learning as I go, and continuing to grow the company while traveling and sharing that. So I'll be sharing on Instagram, on my personal newsletter, which is buildinmotion.co or .co, and across all other platforms too. So happy to connect with anybody if anyone has questions about what I'm doing or wants to do something similar for themselves as well.